Good morning, everybody. It's your host, Her Weirdo, and just check out the view from up here. Wow. This is the reason why I have this window right here to wake up in the morning and see the sunrise. Anyway, it has been more than a year in the Minecraft world, more than a Minecraft year. And I'm really excited to show you the progress. This right here is my office in the Masons Guild. I did the interior. I moved in a ton of villages, and I'm certainly loving it. I love it. So the other day I was just going through what the 1.16.100 update brings for the Bedrock edition, and my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined. I just don't know what to say. As you guys saw that they have nerfed villages. And let's be honest here, we all loved the Minecraft Bedrock edition overpowered villagers who sold everything for 1 emerald. Cured villages, that is. That was one of the main reasons I play Bedrock edition. Not like I wouldn't play Java if I could, but that's off topic. It just makes me sad, the Bedrock edition is missing so many great things that the Java edition has. And I acknowledge technical difficulties and the difference of codes and the fact that both games are being played on significantly different hardware systems. Like Bedrock Edition is popularly played on mobile, low end PCs and consoles, whereas Java is mostly played on beastie PCs and powerful computers that can handle shit. Now I don't have expertise in coding, but I know that some things are just fundamentally impossible at this point in time, at least. Yeah, you can say that the Bedrock Edition does not have access to the Nether roof in order to build because a lot of low end devices cannot handle it. Yeah, you can say that Bedrock Edition does not have the large biomes option because the world generation in Bedrock Edition is different due to the codes being different. But you certainly cannot justify the removal of the overpowered villages that Bedrock Edition had. So our best bet is to think that it was something related to the gameplay. Perhaps they were too overpowered to exist, which they certainly were. I mean, efficiency 5 book for 1 emerald. None of us can deny the fact that they made Bedrock Edition easier to play and villager trading here more fun. I mean, you can sell a stack of rotten flesh to clerics and make a stack of emeralds. That means every stack of wheat you have is a stack of emeralds. Every stack of sticks that you have is a stack of emeralds. That's insane. And I think that is the reason they removed them to make um, emeralds hard to come by and obtaining a lot of emeralds requiring more grind and more time for players to dedicate to the game. For a second, I also ended up thinking that cured villages would make speed runs easier, but obtaining the weakness potion and the golden apples would take a significant amount of time, reducing the speed run time. And I don't think it would be feasible to waste your time in getting cured villages. And also, not to mention the fact that it takes a lot of time for a villager, a zombie villager, to get cured after you splash him and feed him a golden apple. So that's a waste of time too. So I think speedruns are nowhere even close to being affected by the fact that zombie villagers were overpowered in the Bedrock edition. So why Mojang? Is it to bring balance? Is it to make people spend more time into the game? Is it to encourage the development of bigger, bulkier farms in survival worlds? Or is it merely to further torment the already suffering souls of the Bedrock Edition players? Huh? Is it? But anyway, guys, keeping that aside, we have a nice lamp now. A street light, in fact. I had a lot of different ideas for this one in mind, but I ended up using the Blackstone walls for this one, the polished Blackstone walls, because they are slightly on the grayer side and they remotely resemble casting iron, and I like that. For the bottom, I chose to go for observer blocks because they somewhat resemble iron too, but I didn't really like the face of it, so I covered it on on the four sides. The rest of it is just dark oak fences and daylight sensors on the top to kind of protect the lamp from rainfall. But if yours is waterproof, you can just ditch those. But that's not it. We have great plans for today's episode. But first, I need to manage the overflow that's been happening in the chicken cooker. I'll just keep these feathers in the Mason's Guild for now. And by the way, isn't it relatively small to be called a guild? I don't care anyway. I always thought that guilds were generally larger in size to accommodate more people, more workers. But anyway, today's episode, I have an amazing build planned. Now I know it's a bit of a cut, but I was just so engrossed into building that I just didn't record. But we have made solid progress here. At least the framework and a part of the roof is done. What now I would like to do is add a bit of a cobblestone border to this insane roof that we have here. Now I realize the fact that this roof is overly exaggerated and unrealistic, but and it has a sort of a fantasy vibe to it. And I like that. And I also don't like that. But while I was designing this house, I came up with an idea and I thought to stick with it. Even though at first it didn't feel like it fits in the kind of vibe I'm going for this place, but later I tweaked it a little here and there, and then I started liking it, and we're gonna build it now, and I think it's gonna look great. Now the overly exaggerated roof is done, but I just realized that I've messed up something else really bad. But let's quickly go to sleep first. I don't want any creepers blowing this thing up already. So the overly exaggerated roof was feeling a little weird to build, right? So I went back to my creative test world and I rechecked the dimensions of this build. And I realized that I had built the roof one block taller. So that's kind of a bummer. So let me just redo this thing all over again and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Yeah, that's looking better. Now something that I need is birchwood, and thankfully I have a lot in stock. Now this is a bit of stretch, so you may or may not like it what I'm gonna build. But I'm gonna build first and think about that later. Now if we can just pillar our way up here, I can show you guys, okay? What I exactly want here is a kind of a rope holding this structure, or you can say supporting this structure, this overly exaggerated roof from falling away. Now I'm going to use some trapdoors and some fence gates to add some variation, or otherwise it's just going to look like a plain old fence, and that's going to ruin it completely. Yeah, there we go. Now let's take a look at that from a distance. Yeah, look at that. Pretty cool, right? Oh, and there's the iron bar missing. Wait, let me just get that. Well, that's not too bad. I think that works. That's pretty decent. Now, let me just go and finish the back and build a lot more stuff that I want to build. Not gonna do it on camera because the episode is already too long, and I'll just build it and I'll kind of give you a walk around. Okay. Okay, are you ready for this? It's the big reveal time. We have some cool new parts coming in here, but first, it's the structure first. Yeah. What do you think? Do you like it? Let's close up. Let's close up a little bit. And if you're wondering why we have so many gross vines all around the place, I ran out of mossy cobblestone, and I was just farming some vines all over the place. So that's why there are some vines on the starter house as well. So yeah, things happen. Anyway, let's take a walk around this thing and see how it feels. Anyway, this is how it looks from the front. Nothing too fancy, just windows. Except the over exaggerated roof on the left side. There is nothing special about it on the front. But if we go at a distance here and look at it from a distance, you can see just how much detail there is on the roof itself. Just looking at it from a distance, you can just go like, yeah, it's a pretty cool house. At least I think that way. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, or don't, whatever. Now, closing in again, I want to show you something that's very interesting. Sorry about the frames though. My processor is just, I think it's just not able to handle it. On the interior right now, we have nothing, it's empty. But I have it figured out, and we're gonna do it eventually, probably next episode. It's just not today. But there's something really interesting that I want to show you. If we just pillar up from here. Now remember how I told you that this rope thingy over here, it supports the overly exaggerated structure and goes inside. It is tied on the inside of the main roof. And because the rope enters from that side of the roof and is tied to this side from the inside, it has kind of made this side of the roof bend a little bit to the inside. It is indented. I just thought that was a cool little detail to add. Eventually, while I'm doing my interior, I'll add something to represent hooks or something, just to kind of sell the fact that, yeah, it is kind of tied to this thing. Anyway, here we have some small little windows just to let some sun inside the rooms, the upper floors. And we also have this chimney. Let's actually get down to ground level to see that. Yeah, look at that. I really like that. And I spent so long to get this fancy curve that we have here. I had to go through a little bit of trial and error in my testing world, because sometimes it would get too thick and sometimes it would get too thin, and I was scrapping a lot of ideas, but then I finally settled for this one and it's perfect. And there's also a roof for this guild tower that is unfinished. I really want to do it. I have it figured out, but I I just, whenever I try to do it, I get distracted, and then I'm like, I'll do it later, and then I start doing something else. Like, I build this instead of doing that first, and I build these cool parts instead of doing that first. And now I also have another project on my mind. But first, I'll finish that. Okay, I'll finish that. I know it looks ugly. I know it's eyesore. I'll do it. Don't worry. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, leave a like or leave a comment saying that, hey, nice video, or something like that, something nice. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot to tell you that I have some things to do IRL, and the next episode is gonna take some time. It's probably gonna be delayed like uh, 4 to 5 days than usual. I usually upload every 6 days or every week, but this time it's gonna get delayed. So bear with me, okay? I'm sorry. I can't help it. Bye.